Here's a number that should scare you. The average Australian keeps a new car for almost 10 years now. 10 years of servicing, 10 years of loan repayments, 10 years of praying the check engine light doesn't come on the week before Christmas. So which cars actually make it through that decade without turning into a money pit? Consumer Reports just wrapped its 2026 annual auto reliability survey, and it's a big one. Almost 380,000 vehicles, owners reporting on everything from engines and transmissions to something as small as a rattling trim panel. And for the first time since 2022, there's a new brand sitting at the top of the reliability charts. Not who you'd expect either. Now, before you say, yeah, but that's an American survey, stick with me. Because when you line that data up against what's actually rusting away, or not rusting away, in driveways from the Sunshine Coast to the Adelaide Hills, the picture gets really interesting. Some of these engines have been doing the same job with barely a hiccup since before some of you were born. So here's the deal. We're counting down 10 cars that keep showing up, survey after survey, workshop after workshop, as the ones that just don't break. Real engines, real servicing costs, real owners. Number 10 is solid. Number 1 is the car practically every mechanic in this country will tell you to buy with your eyes closed. Let's get into it. Number 10, the Hyundai i30. We start with the car that basically taught Hyundai how to build something boring in the best possible way. The i30's petrol engines, the 1.6 turbo and the naturally aspirated 2.0, aren't flashy. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to start every single morning, and that's exactly what they do. But this isn't the Hyundai your uncle warned you about back in 2004. The i30's 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty forced Hyundai to actually engineer for longevity because every failure came straight out of their own pocket. Owners report low servicing bills and none of the transmission drama that plagued some of Hyundai's earlier automatics. It's not the car you brag about at a barbecue. It's the car still running when the one you bragged about is on the back of a tow truck. Number 9, the Mazda CX-5. Now we move into SUV territory, and honestly, the CX-5 might be the most underrated car on this entire list. Mazda's naturally aspirated 2.0 and 2.5-liter petrol engines are almost stubbornly simple. No turbo lag, no dual-clutch gearbox drama, just a conventional 6-speed auto doing exactly what it's told. What really matters here is what Mazda didn't do. They didn't chase power figures. They didn't cram in unproven tech before it was ready. The result? Owners described CX-5s clearing 200,000 kilometers with nothing more than brakes, tires, and oil changes. That's not exciting to talk about. It's exactly why it's so reliable. Number 8, the Honda Civic. Look, the Civic has always lived a little in Toyota's shadow here, and that's honestly unfair. Its 2.0-liter hybrid setup pairs a petrol engine with an electric motor in a way that's mechanically simpler than most people assume. There's no traditional gearbox to wear out, which removes one of the most common failure points in modern cars altogether. What actually surprises people is this. Even Civics from a decade ago, the ones with the old iVTEC engines, are still turning up on the used market with well over 250,000 kilometers and nothing more dramatic in their history than a timing chain check. Honda built its reputation on engines that flat out refuse to wear out, and the current Civic hasn't broken that habit. Number 7, the Subaru Forester. This is where things get a bit more emotional because Forester owners are borderline obsessive about this car. And once you understand the boxer engine, you get why. Subaru's flat-4 design keeps the engine's center of gravity low and its vibrations more evenly balanced than a standard inline engine, which is part of why these things feel like they'll run forever. Now, full disclosure, Subaru maintenance isn't the cheapest, and all-wheel drive systems always add a bit of mechanical complexity. Aussies make that trade-off willingly, though, and it's not hard to see why. In flood-prone regions, in the high country during winter, on unsealed roads out past the Black Stump, standard all-wheel drive traction just isn't optional. Owners aren't buying a Forester because it's the cheapest thing to service. They're buying it because it starts and grips when nothing else in the street does. Number 6. The Mazda 3. 6 months ago, if you told a car enthusiast the Mazda 3 belongs on a reliability list next to a Toyota, you might have gotten an argument. Not anymore. Mazda's Skyactiv engineering philosophy, basically obsessing over compression ratios and reducing internal friction, has quietly made the 3 one of the most dependable small cars sold in this country. Nobody really talks about this part, though. Mazda's dealer network in Australia has stayed remarkably consistent for over a decade, which means parts availability and technician familiarity are both excellent. 2 things that make an enormous difference once a car passes its warranty period. A reliable engine paired with an easy repair network. That combination is rarer than you'd think. Number 5. The Mitsubishi Triton. Now we get into ute territory, and if you've spent any time on an Australian job site, you already know this one. The Triton's 2.4-liter turbo diesel isn't the most powerful engine in its class. It was never trying to be. Mitsubishi tuned it for longevity under load, which is exactly what a tradie actually needs. Not bragging rights at the pub, but a vehicle that starts every day for a decade with a tray full of gear on the back. And this is the bit that changes minds. The Triton has quietly built a reputation among fleet operators for having some of the lowest unscheduled downtime of any ute on Australian roads. Not the flashiest name in the segment, arguably the most dependable one. Quick pause before we get into the top 5. If this list's already got you double-checking what's sitting in your driveway, do us a favor, smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because we've got plenty more of these breakdowns coming. Right, let's keep going. Number 4, the Toyota Hilux. You knew a Hilux was coming, and here it is. This is the ute that became a national in-joke because it simply refuses to die. Remember the one that survived being set on fire, submerged in seawater, and dropped off a building for a UK TV show? That wasn't a fluke. That was decades of Toyota deliberately over-engineering the 2.8-liter turbo diesel and the drivetrain underneath it. What's wild is how consistent this reputation has stayed across generations. Mine sites, cattle stations, remote mail routes, places where a breakdown doesn't mean a tow truck, it means a genuine problem, have run Hiluxes for years, specifically because the failure rate is so low. It's not romantic, it's just brutally, dependably tough. Number 3, the Toyota RAV4. Consider this for a second. The RAV4 has been one of Australia's best-selling SUVs for years running, and the hybrid variant is a huge part of why. Toyota's hybrid system pairs a 2.5-liter engine with electric motors using a planetary gear set instead of a conventional transmission, which means there's no clutch pack and no torque converter to wear out over time. And that engineering choice shows up directly in resale value. RAV4 hybrids consistently hold their value better than almost anything else in the segment because buyers already know what they're getting. An engine that sips fuel in traffic and just keeps running, servicing after servicing, with remarkably few surprises. Number 2, the Toyota Camry. Fleet operators don't choose cars emotionally. They choose them from spreadsheets, cost per kilometer, downtime, resale. And the Camry hybrid keeps winning those spreadsheets. Its 2.5-liter hybrid powertrain is essentially the same reliable formula Toyota uses across its hybrid lineup, refined over almost 3 decades of hybrid production since the original Prius. Here's what really seals it. Taxi and rideshare drivers, the people who put more kilometers on a car in a year than most of us do in 5, gravitate toward the Camry hybrid, specifically because it holds up under that kind of relentless use. When the people who drive for a living bet their income on a car, that's a reliability endorsement no marketing department could ever buy. Number 1, the Toyota Corolla. And there it is. Consumer Reports' latest data puts the Corolla at the very top of the reliability charts. And honestly, in Australia, that's barely news. It's simply been one of the best-selling small cars in this country for years. And here's the part that explains everything else on this list. It's not on top because it's exciting. It's on top because Toyota has spent decades deliberately refusing to change what already works. The Corolla's 1.8-liter hybrid engine borrows directly from the same dependable system found in the RAV4 and Camry. Toyota's hybrid architecture reused, refined, and proven across millions of kilometers worldwide before it ever reached this specific model. There's no experimental tech here, no unproven gearbox. Just a company that figured out reliable engineering 30 years ago and has stubbornly stuck with it ever since. So what does all this actually tell us? Look at that list again. Not one of these cars won because it was the most powerful or the most luxurious or the one turning heads at the traffic lights. They won because somebody, somewhere in an engineering department, resisted the urge to overcomplicate things. Simple hybrid systems instead of complex ones. Conventional automatics instead of unproven dual-clutch boxes, engines tuned for decades of service instead of a headline-grabbing spec sheet. That's the real lesson here, and it's one worth remembering next time you're standing in a dealership getting dazzled by a touchscreen the size of a dinner plate. Reliability isn't glamorous, it's boring, it's consistent, and after 10 years and 200,000 kilometers, boring is exactly what you want parked in your driveway. All right, that's the list. Did your car make the cut, or did we just talk you out of buying something? Let me know in the comments which one surprised you the most. And if you got any value out of this, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because we've got plenty more of these deep dives into what actually keeps a car running coming your way.